two things that we can talk about. The first is, which questions got you and your partner talking about the reading, and what did you hear in the text that helped you discuss those questions? Share.
We were talking about the feelings, because there was a lot about how she was feeling. The way the girls were feeling scared.
Which question got you talking about that?
How are the girls feeling in front of them?
And so, let's hone in on that second part. How do you know? So you mentioned that they were feeling scared. How did you know they were feeling scared? What in the text made you think that?
Well, I had to go look back for the exact, but I know that it was talking about the cold floor and the horror.
And so you're remembering that part where we know that the girls were worried because they stayed where they were, their bare feet on the cold tile floor, and their hearts pounding. Who else talked about the girls' feelings? What other questions got you thinking about things?
Wondering if people were, what did it mean by kind of 11 o'clock? Midnight goes.
Was that answered in the text? So what did you find out? How was that how did you discuss it? Right. And we remember that part that it's code names, that there was a neighbor that must have been there that was helping them. So that made more sense. Given the setting of this story, why does it make sense that Lydia wants to go home in the middle of the night?
Because she has one of the yellow stars.
All right. So, say that again.
Maybe worried about her parents.
Maybe worried about her parents. All right. What in the text makes you think she might be worried about her parents?
She wants to go home.
Yeah.
Well, things are happening to adults.
The midnight lady said that she couldn't go home because the police would be there and it started, the arrest had started.
Yeah. We heard that it started, the arresting has started. And Lydia, we mentioned the star. Lydia wasn't looking at Helen. She was staring at the yellow star on Madame 11 o'clock's coat. Okay. So these are the kinds of conversations we would continue to have with our fifth graders on day one as we're thinking about this text. We would use prompts and post the prompts to support the students in extending their conversations with one another to really build on these ideas. And as the week unfolds, we would come back into this text to really explore more deep themes and conflict that's being exposed within this text structure of fiction. So as we come out of this experience then, and we think about this question, what would your students need to know and be able to do to participate in this lesson? What are your thoughts?
They know how to ask questions that were texted in there.
Say that. Let's say more about that. Why do they need to be able to listen actively?
So that they can pick things out and know what they're going for, and predict and lead them in the right directions for it.
I heard someone else share it.
I said they should have prior knowledge.
I will support them in some ways with that. You heard that background. What else would students need to be able to do to engage the way that you did? So,
to focus.
Ability to focus.
all right. And focus how? What skills would go into that need to really focus and engage in this lesson?
Now, does every single student have that book, or
Where they're able to follow the
At
text.
this point in the lesson, it's a read aloud, just the same as you experienced it. So what do they need to be able to do? Okay. Stay on task and
Be social.
say more about that.
They wouldn't be able to talk about it with their partner. And I can ask them about being social about it.
And so as we think about what students need to be able to do to be college and career ready, but also to meet the demands of Common Core, we see some key experiences, some key skills. Collaboration stands out as I think about that need to be social. That evidence-based thinking, supporting their answers from the text, through their conversations, also through their writing. And so we're going to look for opportunities to really support students with that. With Developmental Studies Center's programs, you're going to find that in order to meet these needs of Common Core, and to really help students become college and career ready, you're going to get a suite of programs with a DSC adoption. The suite of programs is going to help encompass the full range of English language arts standards that you have to meet for students K through 5. We're going to now talk about some of these pretty briefly. You have an opportunity back at your schools to look at the programs with more depth. We've sent you a protocol review that will give you an idea of how to even look through all of these materials, what to look at first, and some online resources that will support you as well. So I'm going to very briefly give you a rundown so we can spend the very end of our time watching a lesson in action in a first grade class, so that you'll have a feel for lesson experience from 5th grade and then also at the first grade level. So when we think about comprehension and vocabulary instruction within this suite of programs, you'll get 3 of our programs: Making Meaning Vocabulary, and Classroom Libraries for Individualized Daily Reading, also called IDR libraries. And there are 2 main goals for all of these programs. The academic focus is that we want to really provide students with the strategies and the tools that they need to engage in this complex reading of text. But also the social aspect. We're going to explicitly help them in working together with one another, building their speaking and listening. All right?
Well, there's the information that we received at the school doesn't have a vocabulary component, it has a writing component.
It has that as well. So there's all of it. We'll make sure before you leave that you have everything that you need in your building. When we think about the comprehension and vocabulary component, we're going to address the needs and identify the work toward Common Core in an integrated way. And so you'll notice that students will have a broad range of increasingly complex literary text and informational text to meet their needs. They're also going to be really learning these social skills to reinforce the work so that they can think independently, in partners, in small groups, and also in whole groups to engage in conversations. They're going to really develop these habits of reading independently. We'll have a chance to look for transfer. Where can they take what they're learning in their whole group work with us and apply it independently in the text that they have in their hands? And how can we really teach them vocabulary and word learning strategies so that they can unpack and tackle brand new words other than just that list that we teach them within the classroom. When you're thinking about your components and you're looking through what you have, you'll have a box that will have your teacher's manuals, your trade books that align with the teacher's manuals, assessment resource books, sample student response books, and the CD-ROM that has all of these consumables. And the adoption would come with that CD-ROM so that you can recreate them from year to year. You're also going to have the vocabulary program, which we'll make sure that you have in your building so that you can see it.
Box like that. It didn't have a white box. All
No,
the
that's
manuals were there, but
right, correct. We were asked not to send all of the whole
Okay.
kids because that's so in your Making Meaning box you should have Making